Storm, it's great to have you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Now, we would have loved to have had you in, but I mean, these are the times we're in at the moment, and your tennis season is not done just yet. But you did decide to come back to Australia. We're seeing all the Australians sort of take a different approach to that. Some are coming back and ending their season, some are continuing to play. You've had an unbelievable year. The decision to just come back and just spend some time in Australia, take us through the thought process behind that.
Yeah, so when I got to US Open, I obviously had some amazing experiences with Wimbledon and the Olympics, and to be honest, after the Olympics, I was pretty fried,
Yep.
mentally and physically. I think just I had a really really good year up to that moment, and having Wimbledon and Olympics and two really special experiences so close together in time. I think I just completely was cooked after that. So I kind of started thinking about, if there is an option to come home, obviously with the 14-day hotel quarantine, it makes it very tricky to find time in the season to fit that in, and plus kind of feel like you're back to where you were really. But yeah, basically just before US Open, I decided that I would make the decision to come home and kind of skip those few events and skip Indian Wells. And at that stage, they hadn't announced the Billie Jean King Cup team yet. So I kind of decided if I was selected that I would, go back to Europe and play that. But if not, I'll have obviously a more extended period of time at home and get ready for the Aussie summer. But I got selected. So I'm heading off next Tuesday.
Yep.
So I've been home, I think, 3 or 4 weeks now, it's been the best decision. I just needed to come home. Obviously, being on the road for that long, it was pretty tough going, playing week in, week out. And I just needed a break. And I mean, I hadn't seen my fiance for 7 months. So, it was definitely time to come home.
I think, Storm, anyone can understand that of the Australian players. We spoke to John Millman a few weeks ago, and John, he's a great character, and he's feeling the pinch. He hasn't been back home, since January this year when he left Brisbane. I spoke to Max Purcell last week. He was doing the quarantining in Adelaide. He wanted to get back, reset. John Pearce, who I had on just a few moments ago, is going to go a bit longer. So, it's tougher on the Aussies more than anyone else. I mean, you play, obviously, a lot of doubles with other international players. I mean, they must admire the Australian Storm with the amount of distance that, the Aussie tennis players cover.
Yeah, definitely. I think this year has been really tough for the Aussies, but in some ways it's been a really cool experience that all the players have kind of been sticking together and checking in on each other and kind of making sure that we're all okay and we all kind of understand exactly what we're going through, all the Australian players. So in some ways it was really nice to kind of feel like we're kind of in it together and that no one else kind of gets it except for us, and we kind of feel like a bit more of a team. So if we could go out and watch matches, especially when there was also no fans and we were still playing kind of in that bubble environment, I feel like it was really good to see, Aussies getting out there and trying to support each other and whatnot. But also the international players, like a lot of players would offer, where they train or their homes if we needed somewhere to stay, because obviously at times we almost kind of felt like we were stranded when there were 1 or 2 weeks where you kind of need to go somewhere to train. It was like, oh, where do I go? These are the weeks that usually I'd go back to Australia and kind of have that time to reset, see family and kind of just be at home and then go away again. To have those weeks where you kind of didn't have anything on, they were probably the toughest, because you kind of, you would start thinking about home and you're not in your normal, I guess, training environment.
Storm, I think everyone who knows their tennis would agree that if you could get a good run at it, we would see your ranking really start to elevate. And this year you've had a great run at it. I mean, you've had your ups and downs like all tennis players go through. You've had some tough periods with injury and being off the tour, and that no doubt tests resilience. And I can't believe you're 27. I feel like you're still 22, 23. So the years do go.
I wish.
The years, I wait to get to my vintage. The years go pretty quickly. This year, what has it done for you as a tennis player in terms of the confidence that I can actually really compete at this level? I mean, if I just break down a few moments through the year, go back to Adelaide, you come from qualifying into a quarterfinal. Isla Tomljanovic, she's had a terrific year. You beat Putintseva, very, very good player. Peru was top 100 as well. What did Adelaide do as just a bit of a launching pad when you're playing sort of that 250 type event?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, in Adelaide, like I had no expectations. You know, I hadn't played many singles events before that event for a while. And you know, I was playing at the Australian Open. I played doubles and mixed. So for Adelaide, for me, it was kind of like a free hit almost. Just like, you know what, go out there. I haven't played singles in a while. It'd be nice to, you know, have some results. But I think the biggest thing for me was that my body was fit and healthy, and I hadn't really had any injury issues for a while. So I've been able to get a lot of, you know, physical training in and also training on the tennis court and play a lot of points and drill and be able to do that week in, week out. So then to have Adelaide and to be able to back it up with, you know, every match. And I was actually feeling almost better and better every match. I was like, oh, actually my body feels good. I can keep going and, you know, I kind of feel better. So to just get that confidence, and obviously the wins were great, but the biggest thing for me was that I was able to play, you know, a full week of matches and pull up fine. So to then be able to go overseas after that, and I received a wild card into Miami, which was an incredible experience. So to be able to go overseas playing good tennis and feeling like my body was fit and healthy, that was the biggest thing for me. And I think the results speak for themselves this year. I've been able to play, you know, a lot of tennis week in, week out and go deep in weeks, whether it was singles or doubles. So that's, very positive for me.
So you won a round in Miami. You go to Charleston, play the 500 from qualies to the second round. I remember watching that match against Petra Kvitova, and it was such a tight first set. I mean, there was some chances there, but you're up against a fellow lefty who's a two-time Wimbledon champion. Can you just recall, you know, going toe-to-toe with Petra? Because you were right in that match in that opening set.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I felt like I was really right in that match for the first set and a bit, and then she kind of ran away with it. But, you know, in the first set, like you said, I did have a few opportunities, and I think that's the thing against those top players, that once you get one of those opportunities and if you don't take it, they get, you know, the door closes pretty fast. So even just to have those experiences against, you know, Grand Slam champions, and the more experiences and the more exposure I have to, I guess, that quality of player and playing in close matches, I think that's only going to, make me better and grow in confidence. And when I do get those moments, opportunities, not having self-doubt and just going after it. I think that's the biggest thing. But this year's been incredible. And I've been able to have some good matches against, top 20, top 50 players. So they're all, I guess, you know, I'm just kind of chipping away, and you know, I'm sitting at 120 right now ranking. So I'm definitely eyeing off that top 100.
Yeah, 14 tournaments in singles this year. We'll get on to some doubles. French Open, we heard that little chat you had with Josh on the ground over at Roland Garros. Significant to qualify for a major outside of the Australian Open. You played Emma Raducanu. I mean, it's still the story that I'm sure blows all the players away. It's still blowing us away who cover the sport, that someone can come from qualifying and the ranking that she was to win a major. I mean, it's got to inspire, I imagine, so many. And we know the women's game, Storm, is so open if you can take your chances. Can you just recall playing Emma, and could you see what she might be destined for when you played that match against her?
Yeah, it was quite funny when I played Emma, because it was I think it was first round of the 100K in Nottingham. We were out on the back grass courts, you know, there's no spectators, and you know, I had to qualify for that event, and she was a wild card. And I remember seeing the draw, and I was like, who is this girl Emma? Like, I, you know, obviously had never heard of her before, and she hadn't really played much because I think she was studying and whatnot. So kind of spoke to a few girls, and no one had really knew who she was. But she beat me, and you know, at the time it's kind of funny because you're like, you know, there was a match I should have won and whatnot. But you know, she was a very good player. Like, the thing that probably stood out for me was that she was fearless. You know, she kind of went after it, and from the first point, I remember she double fault, like really shaky on the first point of the match. I was like, oh, okay, like she's probably a little bit nervous and whatnot. And then the next point, she, you know, hits the first serve and then a forehand winner, and just yells and come on. I'm like, okay, like she's feisty, you know, she wants this, which, you know, it's awesome to see. And you can see that in her tennis, that she's fearless. She didn't care who was up the other end, and, you know, taking second serve returns so early, and any type of opportunity she got to change direction or move forward, she would take that. So I definitely felt that. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that she was going to qualify and win the US Open. But I obviously can see that in her game, and obviously even at Wimbledon she did incredibly well. So, definitely it was pretty amazing story. It's still, you know, quite unbelievable, really.
Extraordinary. Yeah, I'm still shaking my head. I mean, I think it's great that any stories like this can happen in professional sport. Storm Sanders, our guest tonight. You mentioned Wimbledon. I mean, you had a great run in the doubles, making the semis with your good friend Caroline Dollarhide, and you were there for Ash as well. We called it live on the radio, and Storm, Ash coming and giving you a big hug in the box. I think you helped warm her up. You're one of the only few Australians left on the ground at Wimbledon. Just recall that from just an on-court perspective, making the semis of the doubles and just being there for Ash's big moment. And then you've, of course, gone to play at the Olympics with Ash as well.
Yeah, that was a crazy few days, actually. I played my doubles semi-final on Friday, pretty much Friday afternoon on court one, and that was just the most incredible experience. Like, court one was pretty much full of people, and I never played on a court like that full of people before, and just, being at Wimbledon and being in the semi-final, and it was a great match. We definitely had some chances. We had 3 match points, and we're up 5-2 in the third set, and I've watched it a few times since, and my heart still breaks a little bit because it was definitely a heartbreaker. But we played some really good tennis, and it was a really, really good quality match, which was really cool. And obviously that night I was pretty disappointed, but Ash messaged me and she said that she would love for me, to be in her box for her final, which, was really, really special because, tennis players can be quite particular about the things. I hadn't really watched any of her matches all week, and I was like, it would be cool to go and watch Ash, but I don't want to bother her or be, kind of in the way. And she kind of reached out to me and said that she would love me to be there. So to be able to sit in her box and watch her achieve, a childhood dream, that was just, that was magical, and that was amazing to be able to experience that and just be there for her and be able to watch her, and then knowing that we were playing Olympics in a few weeks as well together. So that was, definitely an incredible experience, and I'm really glad I got to be there for her to watch that.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, the scenes back here, I mean, there was just, the sort of the tingles up the spine, if you like, to have an Aussie winning Wimbledon, and it was incredible to call. So just a quick take on the Olympics. I mean, it was, such a strange Olympics in a sense of, no crowds there. But I imagine the athletes being in the bubble are competing. I mean, you're in that sort of own zone. Can you give me your take on the Olympic experience, which was so different?
Yeah, that was definitely something that, I'd never experienced anything like that before. And we got there, I think, quite a few days before. So it was actually really good to be able to kind of soak up the village. Like, the village was just giving me goosebumps even thinking about it now. I remember when we first kind of went in there, and, there's all the apartment buildings with just flags on them, and everyone's walking around in their team uniform, and you're just like, wow, this is just absolutely incredible. These are just the best athletes in the world at what they do. And, it was such a shame that we couldn't have crowds, because I felt like Tokyo did such a good job with the stadiums. Looked amazing. Like, the tennis venue was really cool, and the stadium was amazing, and the fact that they couldn't have fans was, like, disappointing, because, that would have been really, really awesome. But, to be able to play with Ash and, walking out for our first match, there's no crowd or anything, but I just felt so nervous. I was like, wow, this is like the Olympics, and, I'm representing my country, green and gold, and I'm with Ash, who's, having an amazing year, and she's world number 1, and we're also childhood friends, and we both, really want to do well as well. So I definitely felt kind of, I guess, nervous and felt the pressure and excitement. But it was an incredible experience. And, we had a bit of a heartbreaker as well, losing to the Czech team. But they won the gold medal, and they've won multiple Grand Slams together. So it was definitely a tough competition, but, an amazing experience.
Storm, great to chat to you. I think down the track we'd love to get you in here for an even more extended chat, but a great year in singles. So the next step, yes, it's certainly tough. The level of competition in women's tennis is there, but everyone that knows your game and watches your game knows you've got the capabilities on the verge of the top 100. You've got a great doubles ranking just outside the top 30. You had some terrific success with various doubles partners this year. The Billie Jean King Cup to come, which we missed out on last year in that new format. I wish you all the best with that, and continued success, because I think you're a real breath of fresh air as a tennis player. Obviously, you bring great personality as well, and we want to see all the Aussies do well. So I really, really appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, thank you very much, and yeah, I'll definitely next time be in the studio, which will be awesome.
Terrific. Storm Sanders joining us on the show